Hello, grade 9s. This is another video on rational numbers. This is adding and subtracting. So 3 tips. If the numbers are friendly numbers, you're going to add them together. If the numbers are enemy numbers, you are going to subtract them. And make sure that the question always shows addition. So for example, in the first 4 questions that I've put down here, they're all addition. As you can see, smack dab in the middle of the 2 integers, there's addition, 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 addition. That's what you want. And this will make sense as we move on to the next examples. But the first 4 are all addition, so that's good. Now these 2 numbers are both negative, right? So I know that if they are both negative, they're friends. In this example, they're both positive. So they're both friends. That's really important because those 2 examples, those numbers will be added together. In this example, we have a negative added to a positive. So these are enemy numbers. They are not going to be added together. They will be subtracted. Here's a negative and a positive. So again, enemy numbers, right? They will be subtracted. Now, when you're adding numbers that are friends, the answer has the same sign. So this answer will be negative because when you're adding 2 negative numbers, the answer stays negative. When you're adding 2 positive numbers, the answer stays positive. So I know before I start, this answer will be negative. So I add these numbers up. So I can basically just forget about the signs. I just want the numbers. I'm going to add them together and I'm going to write them down vertically, lining up the decimal. So add these together. I know my answer will be negative. So I can just put that right down there. So now you add as you normally did in elementary. So 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry the 1. And now the one you carried, you add the second column of numbers. 1 plus 7 plus 4 is 12. Drop the 2. Carry the 1. You can line your decimal up here. 1 plus 8 plus 3 is 12. So the answer is negative 12.21. Okay, these 2 numbers will be added together. So 6.15 and 2.77. I add them together. I know that the answer will be positive because I said that they would be. Now we add as we normally do. 5 plus 7 is 12. Drop the 2, carry the 1, add those up. That's 9, 0 there, or the decimal there, and this is 8. So the answer is 8.92. All right. These numbers are going to be subtracted because they're enemies. So which number wins the battle, as I say? The number that is more positive or more negative wins. And that's what the answer will be. So since this is only negative 3 and this is a positive 15, this number wins the battle. So this number should go on top. This number goes on the bottom, lining up your decimals. Now notice when I line them up, this 15.7, it's kind of doesn't, you can add a 0 in here to make sure that not only the decimals are lined up, but the numbers are lined up here. And so now we are going to subtract the numbers. The number that wins is the positive one, so I know that the answer will be positive. Whichever number wins, that's what your answer will be. So now we subtract. 0 take away 6, you can't do that, so I need to borrow from the 7, make that a 6, carry and put the 1 there, the one that I borrowed. So now that changes that to a 10. 10 take away 6 is 4. 6 take away 7, can't do that, must borrow from the 5, making that a 4. Carry the 1 up here. 16 now, take away 7, that's 9. Decimal lines up, 4 take away 3 is 1, and 1. So the answer is 11.94. All right, this one here, enemies, they subtract. The number that wins is the number that's more negative or positive. This one's more negative, so it wins. That means the answer will be negative. Put this number on top, the number that wins, 10.68 and 5.93. Subtract them. I know the answer will be negative. So 8 take away 3 is 5. 6 take away 9, can't do it, got to borrow from the 0. 0 has nothing to give, so you go to the 1. Cross out the 1. Make it a 0, bring the 1 over to this 0, so now that becomes a 10. Now 10 can now borrow to the 6, so that 10 becomes a 9. That becomes a 1. So bring that 1 out. 16, take away 9 is 7. Decimal, 9 take away 5 is 4, and that is it. So the answer is negative 4.75. Okay, so that's adding rationals. Now, subtracting is a little different. Remember my first tip, right? First tip on the first page, friendly numbers added, enemy numbers subtracted. The question must show addition. This question does not show addition, it shows a subtraction. So in class, we tell students that subtraction really means change the subtraction to add, but add the opposite of whatever the second number is. So in other words, I change this to add, and I make this the opposite. The opposite of a negative is a positive. So now I've changed it to an addition, but I'm adding the opposite. Now I can see, are these numbers friends or enemies? And you can see that they are not friends, they are enemies. That's a negative with a positive. So I'm going to subtract the number. The number that wins this battle is the positive. It goes on top, and the other number goes on the bottom. I subtract them, and I know the answer is positive because the positive one won the battle. And now we subtract. 9 take away 5 is 4. 3 take away 3 is 0. Line up your decimal. 4.04. Answer. Okay. Subtracting means change this to an add. The opposite, that becomes a negative. So this is a positive with a negative. Once again, these numbers are subtracted. The number that wins is the positive because it's higher than the negative is. So that number, 11.82, goes on top. 6.93 goes on the bottom. We subtract them. The answer is positive because the positive wins. 2 take away 3, can't do. Borrow from the 8, make it a 7, make that a 12. Take away 3 is 9. 7 take away 9, can't do it. Got to borrow, make that a 0, make that 17. Take away 9 is 8. Line up your decimal. 0 take away 6, you can't do it. So that becomes a 0, 1. So it's 10 take away 6 is 4. 4.89 positive. All right. Sorry. This one right here, we have to change that to adding and make this the opposite. So look, I have a negative and a negative. Two negative numbers get added together. So it doesn't matter when you're adding which one really goes on top. Usually the one with the most digits goes on top. You like to see the number with the more digits on the top, but in this case they're equal. So we just basically add them, and I know that the answer will be negative because two negative numbers stay negative when you add them. 5 plus 1 is 6, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 8 is 15, carry a 1, that's a 3, negative 35.76. Finally, we change this to an addition, make this an addition, so we have, again, a positive with a positive. And so we add the numbers 14.73 on the top, 2.91 on the bottom. We add them, the answer stays positive. So 3 and 1 is 4, 7 and 9 is 16, carry a 1, that's a 7, that's a 1. The answer is 15.64. So I hope you understood this lesson and helps you out in your studies at home.